Hello, hello. It's time, my friends, for part 9 of Expedition 33 with the Therapist. It's great to have you here. Thank you for continuing to support this playthrough. It means the world to me that you do that. Pop a thumbs up real quick. Comment at some point. Would love to hear your thoughts on what you're seeing. And as always, follow the links in the description. Those of you that have made the effort to pop over to my Twitch channel from YouTube and say hello, I appreciate you. Thank you very much for doing that. And real quick, some of you may not know this, but I'm saying it because at the time of this video, I've got a new album coming out. I also make music. It's real chill. I don't sing. It's not awkward like that. It's just me and my guitar. I got 10 albums out at the time of this now. If you want to check out my music, go to Spotify and check that out. DrMick. I'd love for you to give it a listen. It's all recorded live by me. Pretty neat. So anyway, if you listen to my music, thanks for doing that. All right. Enough about me. Let's see what's going on with Gustav and the gang. Back down the tunnel. Looks like paint. Gustav can't swim. He's like Ellie from The Last of Us 1. Alright. I just want to see if there's any little nooks around here that I can crawl into and say hello.
This will be useful.
50% increased break damage with free aim shots. Ooh. It's actually pretty good. Now. I'm actually okay falling down because I get a sense that that's the direction I'm supposed to go. I want to see what's in the area where I'm not supposed to go. Or maybe I'm supposed to. Let's go down. Wow, that's a long way down. Okay, maybe this is where I'm supposed to go. Oh, shit. Okay. Oh, back up. Back up. This very Elden Ring moment there. Drop down the rope. Big dude with the sword sitting there. Not interested. See you later. On second thought, let's not go to Camelot. It's a silly place. I want to go where I'm not supposed to go. I gotta find Tingle and get a map of the area. First strike. I'm just gonna say that joke every time, so I just hope you're all ready for it, because
dance begins.
Undefeated, never lost.
Precise strike. Lightning strike.
For those who come after.
Bah! Yes, I got it. Oh yeah, killed the bug. Killed those guys, and I killed the IRL bug in my room. What a day. What a day. Hell yeah. Alright.
This will be useful.
Okay, so wait a second. Maybe this is where I'm supposed to go. I don't like that I don't know where I am and I'm not supposed to go here. Okay, there's a can. Okay. Alright. We're gonna go down and we're gonna fight the big guy. Oh, come on. How Elden Ring-esque is this? With that dude up there, a little glowy thing in an area that you're not sure you can get to? How do I get there? Well, hello there.
What have we here?
Hello there. You're gonna be like so fun to fight. I just know it. Nah, I bet you suck. Bet you're bad at this. What is this? Gold Chevalier. Chevalier. Resistance to fire. Okay, good to know, I guess. Resistant to lightning as well. Oh shit. Oh shit. Okay. Oh shit. We on fire, Mael.
Chroma is flowing. Chroma is flowing.
Resistant to everything. Let's go. Earth Rising.
Earth Rise.
Fire attack. Wow. those are so delayed.
This will hurt.
All right, Mael.
Precise strike.
Ah, that's what I'm talking about right there. Yes.
The elements dance.
For those who
For
come
those
after.
who come after.
1 AP on parry, but damage received is doubled. Shit. Perilous parry.
An advantage.
Enchantment. All I can think of whenever she says that. Enchantment. Please not be where I need to go. The manor. Oh, we're back in the manor. Damn it. Mael. There's a lion and a witch in there. You better be careful.
Oh.
New outfit unlocked. Oh. Wish there was a new outfit for Eskia. No. I'm not fighting that. Get out of here. Anything for Gustav in there? No. Oh, wait a minute. I want to go. Oh no. I don't know. I don't want to be here. Please tell me I'm going to walk outside back into where I was. If I'm in Waterworld, I'm going to be upset. Okay, thank God. That's really interesting that you go back there. So, okay. I'm going to go look around a little bit then. Just because I'm fascinated by the fact that we're here. There's no wonder those doors couldn't open, but is there like what if there's like some dude just sitting? There's a lot of doors in there, so. So I want to know. Okay, well, obviously we'll have to put something in there at some point. Done my due diligence. That was gonna bother me. Trippy. Alright. Ivy came down here. I love how it's lit with floating lanterns. That's cool. Wait, I didn't rest at a thing. Why is that enemy back? Well. Oh, that means we're gonna have to fight these guys again? God damn it. Ugh.
Strike!
Now's our chance.
Gustav, don't die!
Man, it was ridiculous, dude. That whole like break their shields, get the virtuoso stance or whatever, nutty. I really want to know how to get into that building, because that is gonna drive me absolutely bonkers. Probably just not our time yet. That's all. Just not our time yet.
Flurry is over there.
I just can't
I
help.
sense something scary.
He's just so wonderful every time. I just love interacting with him. All right, attributes. All right, 6 shattered deals high lightning damage to all enemy. Break. If the target's broken by the hit, overcharge is fully charged. Sounds good to me. Mael, what you got? Waiting for that. Waiting for that. F4 and lightning. Critical sustained lightning damage. We'll wait for the 10 on hell. Okay. Ooh. Ooh. Oh, hey there. Looks like my wife from Skyrim.
All right, let's get rid of him. The rock Stark should be nearby.
All right, here we go. Lampmaster.
Please survive.
Switches off the lights in the game. Oh, shit. All right, enough of that.
Flames. On me.
Let me help.
I'm ready.
Rooney, what happened?
I'll do it.
That was close.
Chrome is flowing. The elements dance. Feel the burn.
Let's dance.
I'm ready.
Precise. Strike.
So much potential. Lightning, strike! Brace yourself. Careful.
Finesse and grace. Finesse and precision. Easier than expected.
Hey, don't jinx us. No need to invite misfortune.
I don't see any stones.
What's happening?
Misfortune.
Brace yourselves.
Oh, I went too early.
Let the ink flow.
Thought maybe that would do something.
Feel the burn.
For those who come after.
Wow, 9,000. Oh boy.
lightning. Strike!
Oh, it's a jump. Right, left, up, down. We've completed the lamp trial. No, it doesn't have enough. Or yeah, it does. Oh no. Was that good?
Is it really dead?
Looks like it.
Is this it?
Flory. All right. Ready to sail like a snail. Just jump, mes amis. It's not that high.
We can finally cross the sea. You don't happen to have some wine stashed away, do you?
Wine?
Hey, you can do this.
I hate water.
All right, before we get into that, talk about Seel here. While we don't know exactly what it is, and please, for the love of God, don't comment telling me what it is, because I'm sure we'll figure it out eventually. Seel has some sort of history with water that is either she did something with water or water did something with her. We don't know exactly what it is, but she certainly alluded to it, and Gustav is aware of what that history is. Her aversion to jumping into water here, because of whatever her history with it is a legitimate thing. And she is presented with a really important choice. And it's a choice that people have various degrees of readiness for, depending on where they're at in their journeys. But I'm going to give a little bit of context for this and how this is one of those moments where our brain kind of works against us. When you experience, it doesn't even have to be trauma, but when you experience something that is not ideal or is harmful or whatever to you, your brain, as a means of protecting itself and facilitating survival, may engage in what we would call overgeneralization, where you have an experience that then produces such a strong response that you inductively manage your future experiences with a similar thing that is not actually related to that thing. So an example that actually comes up a lot when I'm streaming, when people talk about therapy, is there are some folks that will say to me, Dr. Mick, I had a really bad experience with a therapist when I was a kid or when I was an adult. I had somebody who didn't fit with me or did something that wasn't useful or, at worst, did something unethical. And so I don't trust therapists. I haven't gone to therapy since, and I don't think that I ever will. You could slot anything into that. I had a bad experience with water once, thus I am not going to go jump on Esquia's stomach because whatever, right? In the case of Seel. Previous experiences with something do not predict your future experiences with that thing in an entirely different context. So if you had a bad experience with a therapist, that does not mean that the next therapist you go see is going to do the same thing that your previous one did. If you almost drowned when you were 8 years old in a lake, that doesn't mean that when you jump into this lake, you're going to drown or almost drown. If you got sick at a McDonald's in the middle of Iowa, it doesn't mean that you're going to get sick at a McDonald's in Maine. That's where our brain works against us. It's understandable why it happens because you're just trying to protect yourself. So, bad experience with water, I stay away from water. I don't mess with water. Bad experience with therapists, I don't mess with therapists. Bad experience with a dentist, I don't mess with dentists. That becomes problematic. Yeah, I was in a toxic relationship, so I don't want to date again. Like, I mean, stuff like that. You actually can put yourself in a position where if you have something available to you that is ostensibly healthy, but you avert yourself to it because of a past unrelated experience, you reinforce the amount of power that thing has over you. So I'm not saying that Seel has to just jump willy-nilly here, but when Seel is presented with the opportunity here to jump into the water versus stay on shore, if Seel decides to stay on shore, we might look at that and go, oh, like, well, that's great. She's protecting herself. She's taking care of herself. She's managing her trigger. And that may be true, but if she especially would say it would be healthier for her to make the jump onto Esquia, then she needs to jump onto Esquia. Because the only way that you can counter a previous bad experience in a new context is to give yourself the opportunity to experience that thing differently. Not every relationship you go into is going to be a toxic hellhole. You may actually find somebody who is more healthy for you to be in a relationship with. And if you bypass that because of what your previous relationships were like, you have missed out on something that may actually be healthy for you. If there's a therapist available to you that could be a really healthy, productive person to work with, and you don't call them because of your previous experience with a completely unrelated therapist, you may actually be doing yourself a disservice. If you had a bad experience at a dentist, and then there's a dentist that comes really highly recommended from all your friends, and you don't give yourself a chance to go into that, you're potentially doing yourself a disservice, and you're reinforcing that all dentists are bad. So it's tricky. There's a lot of work that goes into this. There's sometimes things that have to be managed in order for a person to have enough of a confidence interval or willingness to activate on something. But it's an important thing to consider. Like, your aversions are generally not things that are going to go away on their own. They're going to go away when you have counter data, where, okay, so I hit my head on a slide at a water park when I was 10 years old, and I just went down a water park slide as an adult despite being afraid of it, and it was a great experience. Interesting. Now what we're doing is cultivating accommodation in the sense that you have now had an experience that may help you expand your narrowed view based on a maybe out of the normal range experience that you had the first time that you were exposed to it. So there's a lot of layers of complication on this, but this is a core component of a lot of stuff that I work with, particularly as it relates to things like extreme anxiety and sometimes even like OCD and PTSD and stuff. Is like, your brain will activate in scenarios and create all sorts of narratives that aren't actually useful to you in the here and now because you're using data that doesn't actually predict anything that you're about to experience. Now, that's different when we're talking about like the same thing, right? Like, going back with the same person, there are odds on that may not have as much change as an entirely different person. So you just have to be aware of these things. Be aware of your aversions and actually run the calculus on is that a scenario that actually predicts this? Because oftentimes it doesn't. And if it doesn't actually predict that, then a level of openness to exposing yourself to that stimuli is an important thing. So Seel jumping off here and landing on Esquier, if I'm her therapist, the thing that I'm going to do with her, if I'm sitting on Esquier's stomach with her, is I'm going to say, the amount of effort that you would have put into reinforcing staying on the shore, you need to put more into reinforcing the fact that you made the jump and you safely landed and you're on the water and you are safe. Like, there has to be a lot of intention that goes into the countermeasure, and oftentimes people miss that. People be like, oh, well, I decided to go eat at Chipotle again, but I'm still afraid of it even though I had a good experience. It's like, well, did you actively take the time to integrate the good experience into your existing schema of what it may mean to go eat at Chipotle? Like, it's a really important thing to do. So I'm not going to belabor it any further, but I hope that makes sense.
She doesn't seem that far now, does she?
Yeah. Wanna throw one more rock?
The others are waiting, but...
You might reach her.
Okay.
Oh, no way.
Ooh, what about that one?
Does it really matter?
Well, you know, like I always say, it's not about the rock.
Oh no.
It's more about the...
Gustav.
Run.
Oh boy, we just had a Ned Stark moment, didn't we?
Run. Please run.
Why? Why are you doing this?
Why not answer? Maybe we could sympathize with you. Oh, Jesus. Okay. Alright, so before we do this fight, I'm a bit interested in the fact that he doesn't answer that question. Like, this guy is... I mean, I can understand he probably has some level of investment in people not getting to the paintress or, you know, whatever. Gotta do this with 1 HP, by the way. Those of you that can't see the far end of my stream, or my screen. I have 1 HP out of 631. What would be his reason? for at least not cultivating some level of like if you feel this strongly about it, you must have a story behind this that is worthy of some degree of sympathy or empathy, and his unwillingness to share that is very interesting to me. This is gonna go so poorly, but this guy's got like 300 million XP.
We've done nothing to you. We should be on the same side. Let her go. For those who come after.
Something's going on up there. Esquier, get us up there!
I can't.
Fuck!
Wow.
For those who come after. Right?
No. You promised! No.
You won't yet understand. But this is a kindness, not a cruelty.
You let her come. You know she's too weak for this. How could you let her take such a risk?
You only care when things are right in front of you. My sweet child, you are supposed to stay home. I told you not to worry. But since you're here now, just stay put.
What are you saying? You must go home, now. This does not involve you.
When this is over, we'll go home together.
No!
But we both want what's best for our families. I'm sorry you're caught in the middle, but I did try to warn you. It's been a while. Stay out of this. You chose to walk away. You don't get to come back now and interfere.
You've lived more than a lifetime. It's time to let her go.
A lifetime. A lifetime with my family torn apart. No. I want my family back.
It's not your family. But she is.
You would use her.
She chose to come. I didn't make the rules between you two. Hey. You all right? It's okay. I'll handle things here. Get back to your friends. Go.
So that's it. You've set us down this path. But are you ready for the consequences?
She'll never paint again.
Okay. No. I didn't have that on my bingo card tonight. Holy hell. All right. So I'll do my gaming speculation before I do the mental health stuff. And I just want to make sure I say very clearly, if there is anybody here that has not been here before, do not spoil anything. I am about to speculate a whole bunch, and I have no idea how much of it is accurate because this is a completely blind playthrough, and I'm still kind of reeling from what I just saw. But I do not... spoiling is an absolute no-go here. So don't tell me if I'm right, wrong, or otherwise. I'm just sort of giving my running thoughts here. So yeah, I'm going to do kind of a two-pronged approach to this. First, I'm going to talk about the game stuff because it's fresh, and then we'll talk about the mental health stuff because I could talk about that whenever. So there were a couple little context clues in the dialogue there that I think maybe give us a bit of insight into the motivations that this dude has. I don't really know what his interest in killing Gustav there was. Because again, this seems to me to be the type of thing that could be talked out. Like, this guy knows that we don't have any context for who he is and what his motivations are. And if he is that strong in his convictions, why not try to explain it to people? That says to me that it's really one of two things. Either he's running out of whatever power he has, or he's immensely insecure about whatever position it is that he's actually taken and doesn't know that it's a strong foundation to stand on. Generally, when people are pretty strong in their convictions, they will speak to them and will justify them and will say, hey, come to the dark side. It's kind of like Darth Vader being like, you know, join me. I've got reasons for doing this. Like, whatever. Like, he doesn't even do that. So this dude's behavior here, to me, I think gives some very small window into whatever foundation he's standing on may not be particularly strong. Because I don't believe that it's so far beyond our comprehension that he might as well not explain it, especially if he's willing to just kill Gustav in cold blood. Something that got said there by whoever this dude is that showed up: you've lived more than a lifetime. This thing goes all the way back, as far as we've been able to see, to 100. I don't know what expedition this guy would have been on, but I'm going to guess he looks like he's at least in his 50s or 60s. But that would have been 20 years ago. So if he was 50 or 60, that would put him at 70 or 80. And he doesn't look 70 or 80. And if he's lived more than a lifetime, then that would suggest to me that either he's got some kind of immunity, or time stops here. That, like, time is not a thing that actually progresses once you get to whatever space we're in. And so his motivation is, I want to stick around enough to find my family. Don't know what that means. Don't know if his family... I mean, the person that he's with, we can't really see her face, so I don't have any sense of how old she is. She's got white hair, though. Doesn't necessarily... Could be a fashion statement. Could be her age. I don't know. She has kind of a strikingly similar resemblance to Mael. I don't know what connection there is there, but this dude has some kind of very strong investment in whatever it is that's going on here, but has some kind of insecurity or is running out of time, would be my guess. What reason he has for killing Gustav, I have no idea. So we'll see what happens. Now, I will say that, like, that girl's gray hair... the paintress also has gray hair, so I'll be interested to see if there's any kind of, like, striking resemblance between the two of them if we actually end up getting to the paintress. I also find it fascinating that that guy's willing to let us go there. He told Mael to get out of here and hop on Esquier. But anyway, all right. So those are kind of just my running thoughts on that. In terms of the mental health stuff, oh man, so. The confounding factor of this entire thing is that came out of nowhere. It doesn't mean that, like, death is any easier when people know it's coming, but when it happens abruptly like that, you are not presented with an opportunity to work through the cutoff a priori or beforehand. And so what that means is that Mael is in a really unfortunate position of having to just entirely react to a situation that she wasn't prepared for. And I'm sure that many of you, if I was to, like, turn the stream off right now, so many of you would probably send me a question in the comments of, like, Dr. Mick, what effect do you think that's going to have on Mael? And my answer to you on this is, I don't know. We'll see. Because you can't predict the way that people will react to a novel experience. So we don't know what's going to happen. I don't know what parts of Mael's past she's going to draw from to make sense of this. I don't know where she's going to deposit blame. I don't know what level of conscientiousness she had in this space. Did she go into high alert? Did her brain shut off? What did she pay attention to versus what did she not pay attention to versus what does she think she paid attention to? Like, there's a lot that happens in that moment that makes it almost impossible to predict the way that she is going to be affected by that. So the bulk of my analysis on this is going to stem from what we see from her going forward rather than what we saw from her there. Now, we did see her kind of shuffle around a little bit and trying to make sense of it in the moment when she looks at Gustav and says, "No, you promised," where she, and that's, I don't think, this like malicious move to put the blame of the moment on Gustav, but I think it's easier for her to go into a space where she says, you know, "Gustav, you promised me you weren't going to die," rather than try to comprehend all of the unknown variables that are sitting in front of her. So it's more of a blame of convenience. Now, that said, that if she continues to indulge that narrative going forward, that this is on Gustav because he promised he wouldn't die and then he did die, I don't think that that would be a particularly good space for her to occupy, but we haven't seen that yet. Watching somebody die in front of you is another thing that, like, people think that they know what they will do in situations like this. And you rarely do, unless you've trained for it. And even if you've trained for it, being out in the field is still different. So what makes the human experience so complicated on this is that all of us have such a varied degree of exposure to things prior to whatever moment that you're living in. Such that, like, we could put 10 people in a room. I mean, what, at the time of this, I have, including me, there are 249 people currently watching this moment. Some people have seen this moment happen already because they've played the game. Some people are just experiencing it for the first time. Of all the people that are watching this, that have experienced this now for the first time, all of us will likely have picked up on different things, could have different predictions on what we think it's going to mean, different emotional experiences to it. And the reason for that is because all of us collide in this moment from a ridiculously complicated and robust mix of experiences. So, you know, maybe somebody in my life or somebody in another video game I've played or a movie I've watched or something, I've seen somebody get stabbed from behind when they were unexpectedly not thinking they were going to die in that moment, or I've been in a place where I watched somebody die in front of me who, you know, saw somebody get hit by a bus when I was in 7th grade or whatever, where this hits me in a different way, where somebody maybe hasn't been exposed to sudden death like that ever, and they watch this and go, "Oh my God," and they're like freaking out. Okay. So that's what's kind of amazing about this entire thing, and why I have a hard time with the idea of predicting how Mael is going to be affected by this, because I don't know her well enough. We look at the manifestations of how these moments happen for people. And all of that is to say that there's no right or wrong way to react to this. So if this is something that you find yourself getting incredibly emotional about, and you're like, "Man, I felt really connected to Gustav, and I'm really sad that he's gone, and I'm pissed at that old dude for killing him and not answering his questions," or whatever, that is just as valid as if you watch this and go, "Yeah, that was gonna happen. Y'all dumbasses shouldn't have gone and picked up rocks and tried to chuck them in the ocean one last time. You should have just jumped on SGA and sailed away." Those are equally fine reactions to the moment, which is why I always say your experiences are valid. Like, that was not a scenario that you can predict specifically. You could certainly say, you know, you never know, something might show up. We did get snuck up on by that thing after we thought we killed it. Like, things happen that you're not expecting, so be on alert at all times. Don't pick up. Like, I mean, there are things you can do to prepare for that, but the idea that this dude was going to walk through that cave and have 1,000,000 XP when you've got one, or 1,000,000 HP when you've got one, it's tough, man. So now we're reacting. Gustav did what he could to control the moment. I'm guessing that he probably was more interested there in protecting Mael than he was trying to survive on his own or kill the dude. But that's really tough because they didn't have the chance to prepare for that. And so the last part that I want to say about this is that so many people get in positions in their life where you know that there's a chance that somebody's going to die. I don't know, a loved one gets diagnosed with cancer stage 4, or You have somebody with early onset dementia who you know you're going to lose, or somebody's got some kind of illness that means they only have so much time left. People in those moments will very often avert themselves to engaging with that person around the impending death. And you miss out on opportunities to close some of the loops that you are going to wish that you had the opportunity to close if you didn't have the opportunity via some sort of situation like this. Because death is a cutoff. And when things get cut off, it doesn't mean things get better. When things get cut off, it means they're held in place. And then it is on you, after the cutoff, to have to make your own meaning abstractly with your own internalized objects rather than with the object itself. So all of the grief and reflection that Mael is going to be doing about Gustav going forward is not with him, is with her internalized version of him, which is an incomplete version and a highly biased version of him. So whether she hopes that Gustav would be proud of her, or if she wants to engage with anger at him, or she wishes that she had said, "Thanks for looking out for me." Stuff like that, she doesn't get to say to him. She's got to say to her internalized object of him, which is never going to be quite as satisfying. And that's part of the acceptance portion of grief, of the fact that, like, that person ain't coming back. Or that thing ain't coming back. And so now you got to pick up the pieces in a way that's a deck stacked against you in some ways, psychologically. But that's brutal. The whole situation there, brutal. And Mael is going to have to be very careful not to blame herself for that, because she's been having these dreams and premonition, right? It's your fault that you're here. She sat in that bubble and she wasn't able to protect Gustav. She wasn't able to maybe make good on all the deposits he made in protecting her. In his final moments, she couldn't protect him. Is it my fault that he's dead? People get into this whole spiral of, like, where's the blame at? And more often than not, people will go internal. So Mael may be like, I didn't stop him. I didn't do anything. I didn't fight. I sat in the bubble. I froze. I was the one that suggested that we go pick up the rocks. All of this stuff, right, is going to swim around in her head. And I'm sure there are people watching this right now. You've been in this situation. If only I had said this. If only I'd done this, blah, 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 blah. Hindsight, not your friend here. And what I'm about to say is maybe the most important thing that I could possibly say in this situation, particularly if this is the type of thing that resonates with you. The reason, the fault of why Gustav is dead, 100% of the reason why Gustav is dead is because the old guy killed him. That's it. Old dude did not have to walk up and put whatever thing through him that he put through him. Gustav is dead because that guy chose to kill him. It's not because of him and Mael stayed to throw rocks. It's not because Mael was protected from the shield. None of it. Because they could have gone back to throw rocks, and the guy could have walked up and said, "Hey, friends, real quick, don't love that you're here. I attacked you when you showed up, and here's my explanation for why. And we should figure this out together because I don't love you being here." But he did not do that. It's the same thing with people who are victims of abuse. They often get kind of groomed into believing that it's their fault that they're being hit. You know, I only hit you because you did X. No, no, no. That person hit you because they chose to hit you. You are the victim of violence because somebody chose violence, not because you asked for it. Not because you did X, Y, or Z to cultivate it. It is that dude's responsibility to act more responsible in that moment rather than killing Gustav in cold blood and then trying to justify it to Mael, who is in no place to hear it afterwards. And it's just, I am so big on accountability and putting accountability where it needs to be, because otherwise people will take too much on that they don't need to take on, And if Mael does that, she goes, I'm the reason Gustav died, then she's going to engage a bunch of compensatory behaviors and cognitive bullshit that is likely going to drive her into a very bad place. If she wants to be where she needs to place that anger and where she needs to place that blame is on the dude who killed Gustav. It's on him. What you decide to do with that information, that's up to her and the party to figure out. But if if I'm Mael's therapist, we are working our asses off to ensure that she does not internalize blame for that. And that is a choice. And it's important to see it that way, especially in the aftermath of these things. This is why being present in your grief and in this stuff is really important, because you have to be very intentional about doing the healthy things sometimes. Bad patterns are often easier for us to ingrain than healthy ones are. Not always, but. All right, that's what I got on that. Oh, this is going to be a mess. Before Esquier waltzes up here, I have a video here on YouTube that if grief, I know I've talked about this early in this playthrough, but seriously, if you want more of a deep dive on grief, I have a video on YouTube about it. I did a Q&A with one of my good friends about it, and I really encourage you to watch it. Because if you've watched that, you know what I'm about to say here, which is that when you are in the immediate aftermath of an unexpected loss, however it affects you, let it affect you. So many people get tangled up in this idea that there's a right way to do this. No. There's a wrong way to do it, which is to channel it into harming yourself or others, right? But Mael's not doing that. If Mael is sad, if she's angry, you just need to let it hit you in whatever way it's going to hit you. Be present with it. Is it going to be uncomfortable? Yes. Grief sucks. Nobody says, I want to grieve today. It is not part of the human experience that anybody intentionally wants to go after. But when it's present, you got to let it happen. Because ironically enough, when you do that, it doesn't prolong in unhealthy ways. Because when people try to run from it, suppress it, push it away, figure out what the right way to do it is so they can change it, all you're doing is harming yourself. So if you're like, I can't cry because it'll make everybody uncomfortable. No. In the immediate aftermath of grief, you let it hit you however it's going to hit you. As long as you do not do something that is destructive to yourself and to others, which are actions, not feelings. You go punch a wall and break your wrist? Yeah, not good. You go on an absolute bender with a bunch of alcohol and then you get in a car, you drive it, and you smash it into a lamppost? Yeah, not cool. That's a bad way to grieve. You cry a bunch, curl up in a ball and rock back and forth, cry until your chest hurts so bad you can barely breathe. Yeah, that's fine. It's okay. The emotions, okay. All right. Inevitably, I'm going to get a million questions about, is this healthy? Is this healthy? Is this healthy? Like, I'm not really here to answer those questions. Like, there are some, like, generally, you don't want to do something that's going to cause physical harm to yourself, or that's going to lead to you running away from. So slot whatever you're going to ask me about into those things and then make a judgment from there. But ultimately, what Mael's experiencing here right now is perfectly legitimate. And if you are Eskia, the reason that I paused it right here to make this point is if you are Eskia here, you go, Dr. Mick, how do you respond to this? You don't really need to. Presence, if anything, is generally more important than anything else. It's not about finding the right thing to say. It's not about trying to help somebody snap out of it. Certainly don't make it about you. Oh my God. If you are uncomfortable with the fact that Mael's crying and the reason you want to go up to her and comfort her is so that she stops crying so that you're more comfy, get the hell out of there. Because you are hijacking it and making it about you. Do not put the burden of somebody quashing their emotional experience on others to make you feel better because you're uncomfortable by the fact that she's grieving. Remove yourself from the situation. So if SKA is coming over here because he's like, oh, I'm really uncomfortable because you're crying and I don't like seeing you sad, so let's tell a joke. Unless Mael says, SKA, can you come over here and tell me a joke and help lighten the mood? Great. I don't know what he's going to do. He might be fine. Okay? But I really cannot emphasize enough that if you are going to engage with a person here, it needs to be 100% about them, and do not underestimate the power of presence. And if that person tells you to go away, go away. It's okay one time to say, I'm here if you need it. After you say what you're willing to do, hey, I'm here if you need it. I'm willing to support you. You let me know what you need. If that person says, I don't need anything right now, then go away. The onus is now on that person to engage you because you put the offer out. It's not your responsibility to fish it out of them. If SKA comes up and says, hey, if you need anything, you let me know, I'm here. And she says, okay, thanks. And he goes away. If Mael needs something from him, it's her responsibility to ask. Do not take responsibility for things that other people are accountable for. If you are grieving and you need things from the people around you, it's your responsibility to tell them, not their responsibility to fish it out of you. Okay. Okay, that makes my point. Okay, just to be clear, I'm not saying this to scratch my own ear to whatever, toot my own horn, but like that makes my point. The thing that's really powerful about that moment is his presence. That's it. He didn't have to say anything. He walks up to her. She turns toward him. So he reads the feedback. She's okay. If she turned away from him, then he should probably leave. But she turned toward him. He reads the feedback. He opens his arms. Gives her the option to approach him. She approaches him. He puts his arms around her. And they just sit together. That's what she needed. If she needed to talk about it, she could say something. She didn't. I just almost said Baymax because everybody's saying that in chat. SKA doesn't need to say anything. So if you're a person that puts pressure on yourself to try to say the right thing when somebody is uncomfortable around you, relieve yourself of that pressure. It is not your responsibility to find the right thing. To the extent that you can be present. And if you cannot be present because this is just too much for you, like I said, leave. Let somebody else who has the capacity for it handle it. Really powerful stuff.
last time we sat together like this?
In Lumiere, mourning our parents.
Seems like every time we're together, it's to grieve. I wish we could have spent more time in less hopeless contexts.
The plan doesn't change. We aim for the monolith. We keep heading north. With SKA's help, we can make it. But we lost the Lumina converter, so...
It's okay, we can think about that later.
All the backups were destroyed by that man, but Expedition 32 will bring more. Their chances will be better. We need to prepare them. I should update our journals.
Hey. It's okay. Tomorrow will still come.
Both are fine. Both are fine. Seel's reaction is not better than Lune's, just to be clear. It actually fits for each of them. Lune immediately gets into, what do we do? What's my protocol? What's my plan? And that's fine. If that's the way that she needs to cope with it, if that's how she puts things together, if she's like, you know what? Sitting around thinking about this is not going to do a lot for me. Being emotional about it is not going to do much for me. Let me focus on action. Let's get busy. Fine. Yeah, let me control something. What I just saw was completely out of my control. I wasn't able to do anything other than watch it happen. So now let me overcompensate, or compensate. I wouldn't call it overcompensate. Let me compensate by focusing on tasks and controlling something. Fine. DL needs to just sort of have like a very present conversation and acknowledge the emotion of the moment. That's great too. Oftentimes where people run into problems is when they get into the grief Olympics, where there's a tension between people because they're grieving things differently. And sometimes there's a little tug of war that happens where where Lune could be like, no, you need to get with the program and start working on shit with me. Or Seel says, you need to stop thinking about this entirely and just be emotional. Either one of those works for the other one. Okay. Grief Olympics suck. Don't do it. I promise. There's a common, you've probably heard this before. There's a very common, trope's not the right word, but it's what's in my brain right now, where when parents lose a child, that exponentially increases the chances of like divorce if you're married or a breakup if you're not. And oftentimes it's because that is such a profoundly just kind of like can't quite understand it unless you've ever experienced it level of grief. But because people grieve differently and that's your attachment figure and that's who you're trying to do it with, people will get into comparisons. And I truly believe that one of the worst things that you can ever do when you are experiencing grief is compare your grief. Because especially if it's with somebody that the best thing that you can do is communicate what you need from somebody else. And they're delicate situations in a relationship type endeavor here when what you need is not something that the other person can provide because they're needing something different because of the way that their grief is affecting them. And that is where we get into oodles of meta communication and problem solving. I'm not really interested in that as it relates to Lune and Seel, but this is a thing that happens. The beauty of this moment to me is it really highlights the relational nature of grief. And I love that Seel even was willing to say that out loud. It seems like the only time we ever sit with each other and are present with each other is when we're grieving. For a lot of people, that can be true. Grief is oftentimes, people like to talk about grief as if it's this isolating thing, but it's also a pretty relational endeavor because it changes the way that you engage with the people around you, particularly if there's a shared experience around it. And I think you're sort of presented with a choice when you are collectively grieving something, which is, do you further isolate yourself into what you're experiencing and get into this idea that nobody is experiencing the thing that you're experiencing, which is technically true, but also not completely true, because while people aren't having the exact same subjective experience you are, there are some similarities that you can connect around. But also, like, people can get into this space where they need other people around them to just feel the healing nature of what it is to have a relationship. And sometimes that can be stabilizing. So if you find yourself kind of getting drawn out to one end of the bell curve, having somebody, in Lune's case, like Seel, to just look at her. She didn't say, we need to talk about it. We need to go in depth. Let me do therapy with you or any of this stuff. She just looked at Lune and said, it's okay. And I think that's enough of an acknowledgement for Lune. Lune doesn't need to have a long ass conversation about her feelings here. She just needs an acknowledgement that she is upset, and we will engage the problem solving tomorrow. I think it's a nice way of Seel having a bit more presence of mind here to be like, we can get into the specifics of this. We can get into the planning. I'm right there with you. But for right now, it's okay. Let's be here together. That's nice. That's a relational problem solve that leverages a lot of the history they have together. It's great. So the tendency here is going to be for people to compare them grieving. Do not do that. Everybody here is experiencing the loss of Gustav in their own way. And it's really about their ability to coexist in that and to lean into whatever amount of flexibility they have to meet the needs of each other. That's going to get them through this. If Lune is able to shut off the planning for a little bit to be present with Seel, like she just did, lovely. That's Lune showing flexibility. If Seel is willing to listen to Lune talk about the plans, acknowledge them, and say it's okay, that's leaning in. That's being flexible. Like, it requires flexibility as much as you can provide, while also remembering what you need and advocating for yourself in that. And it's complicated to do that. This is why we talk about it with as much depth as we are in this game. So many people told me, you're going to talk about grief a lot in this game. Yeah. Yeah. No shit. But I hope this is helpful. Like, grief is something that, to whatever degree, all of us experience at some point in our lives. And so it's an experience that people can connect around, because we all lose things. I mean, you lost a toy when you're a kid. It can have the same effect on a kid as losing your grandma can have when you're an adult, right? Like, it's something that we've all experienced loss, and we've all had some variation of reaction to it. And the appreciation of the diversity of that, I think, is really important.
Seel.
This seemed important. If you want to reach the monolith, the best path is through the quarry up north.
Who are you?
And where did you get that expedition uniform?
Strange way to say thank you.
Oh, buddy, come on. Oh. He was doing okay. Oh, man. Read the room. Oh, God. Oh, man. All right. All right. So I want to acknowledge before I say this that there is a broad spectrum of people's ability to read the room. Okay? Not everybody is good at it for various numbers of reasons. Okay? But reading the room, for the most part, is a skill that you can develop. When I was a kid, so one of the things that one of the experience, I'm going to try to make this short. One of the experiences that I am most grateful for in becoming a therapist has absolutely nothing to do with going to grad school. It has everything to do with the fact that when I was a kid, my parents enrolled me in theater and improvisation classes, in particular the improvisation classes. And one of the core components of improvisation is understanding the context you're in, the audience that's watching you, and the people you're with. And that requires a level of intention in paying attention to those factors, patterns, etc. So, if you're this guy, same thing with writing and all that stuff, right? Like, you got to know who you're writing for. And it's okay if you're writing for you, but anyway, I digress. So, in addition to that, I had a supervisor once that said to me, you can say anything to anyone as long as you do it at the right time. And so what this guy needs to do is pay attention to a few things. This guy was in their party and was killed in front of one of them. This guy dropped a thing in the form of a hand that looks like it is important. I'm going to walk into a camp as somebody that these people are going to assume or affiliate with the guy that killed their friend. I showed up at the same time that guy did. So, when I show up, I need to know what I'm working with, which is two people who are going to make an assumption that I'm hostile. I fit the profile of people who these people will have deemed to be dangerous. Now, this is why it is incredibly important to understand the general experiences that certain groups of people have had. I'm not going to get into a big sociology lecture here, but this is why if you're a guy and you walk up to a woman who's sitting by herself at the beach, you're likely going to be marked as dangerous. Okay? I say this because I have a recent example of this from, I was at a beach in California and I watched a guy go up to a girl on the beach and I was like, holy shit, dude, what are you doing? It was a whole thing. I'll spare you that story. But this guy needs to know what he's working with. If you read the room, you know that you have to take certain countermeasures against that. Okay? So when I show up, what are the ways that I need to indicate that I am not what you think I am? Maybe knock. Maybe say from afar. Hey, I know that you probably think I'm dangerous. I'd like to prove to you that I'm not. I have something for you. Any number of things that you can do, okay? So when they react in a way that completely makes sense, and he says that's some way to thank me, that is an unbelievable interpersonal risk. That is a level of entitlement to a reaction that is not commensurate with the context that is really hard not to be annoyed by. And in that moment, his impact of his presence is infinitely more important than his intention. And if he goes into this moment thinking that they should be able to know that he is well-intentioned in showing up in this space just because he threw their dead friend's arm at them, he is missing the mark. And you hurt yourself interpersonally. Now, DrMick, man, you're just like taking this shit so serious, man. Like, can't people just be people? Can't people just like, be chill? Like, why can't they just like totally... If their friend didn't just die in front of them and the first time they saw you is when you were with somebody that you were able to talk to the guy that killed him, yeah, maybe. Maybe. But you were very specifically in the room when this happened. Okay, if he was some random tangentially related guy that wasn't in this and he walks up and he has it, yeah, maybe, right? Esquier, a great example. And Francois, right? Able to be like sarcastic and jokey, and we take it in stride because the context works. Does not work here. Read the room. Take the situation seriously, and then as you build rapport, you can start to lighten up. But like, dude, this is not the way you enter this space.
Sorry I couldn't save your friend.
Better.
I'm wearing an expedition uniform because I, too, am an expeditioner.
What? What do you mean you're an...
I've never seen you before.
First expedition. Expedition 0.
Expedition 0? But how are you alive and not...
Old? I don't know exactly, but some of us stopped aging and were not affected by the Gommage.
Some of you? Like the man on the cliff?
Renoir. Our commander.
Renoir.
Why? Why did he massacre our team?
How could he turn on his own people?
He believes his immortality is a gift from the painters.
Okay. 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 Hold on. Here's what I find amazing about this whole thing. I'm going to give them oodles amount of credit, but I'm also going to hold the writing of this a little bit accountable here. Okay? They are so unbelievably quick to accommodate that. They are so unbelievably quick to just be like, oh, okay, you are an expeditioner from Expedition 0, and some of you stopped aging, and that dude believes that he's immortal. Like, really quick to just be like, okay, that must be true. Tell us more. I'm not saying that it's impossible, but like, maybe it's like that at this point they're just open to anything because all this shit's been crazy as hell. But like, the general reaction that I would anticipate would at the very least be, what? I don't know about that. I'm not saying that's the right answer. It's just, that is an unbelievably quick accommodation here. Oh, okay. You don't look old? Yeah, it's because I'm immortal. Oh. So, again, this is where context is really important. This is why, this is going to sound like I'm making a point that's counter to what I just said, but this is exactly why diverse representation is so deeply important. Because the more you learn about the world around you and all the various differences that exist within it, the more open you are to new stimuli. Like, the more open you are to experiences that are in violation of your expectations. Because you start to realize that there are things about the world that are way beyond your comprehension. And your level of openness to meeting that is there. Lune in particular, I am surprised, is like, whoa! So this is where kind of the visuals and stuff like apply to this. Like I don't want to sound like I'm being overly critical here, but it is a bit jarring to see them just be like, oh yeah, okay, sure. Yeah, you're immortal. Now, if that's true, no wonder this guy doesn't want the Patriots dead. Are you kidding me? This guy's like, dude, I can live forever because she's doing it. And you guys keep showing up every year trying to kill her. This is beyond your comprehension. But what is kind of mind-blowing to me is like, if these folks are just as willing to understand that and like sort of open themselves up to it, like, I want to know what experience Renoir had where he tried to explain this to people and they didn't believe him and tried to ruin the whole thing. Because, like, what is his investment in being the only one who gets to do that? Like, being immortal would kind of suck because you just watch a bunch of people around you just die. Like, it's just brutal, right? So he's invested in his own immortality, but seems to have absolutely no interest in other people getting that out of it. And also, it's interesting that this guy's like, oh, well, he theorizes basically that he gets his immortality from the paintress, but like he didn't say like, oh, he went and talked to her and she said, I'm making you immortal. So like that tells me something is potentially making him immortal, and he is just like, well, I'm gonna preserve whatever I think around it. And it's just like, goddamn. But I totally get it now. I get some degree of his conviction, but I still don't understand why the guy won't talk to people. I want to know what the experience that guy had is that led him to a point where he goes, kill everybody with reckless abandon when they show up on the beach instead of explaining to them what's going on. Because they're going to be willing, I will say this, they're going to be willing to give you credit if you're wearing an expeditioner uniform. That is a signal. He walks up wearing an expeditioner uniform and they're kind of like, all right, well, it fits him and he looks like us, so let's give him a little bit of the benefit of the doubt here. The same, we walked up on the beach. I'm pretty sure Gustav and everybody were ready to talk to old dude with the cane, and then he just opened fire. So, I don't know. I really want to know. I really want to know what Renoir is all about here.
Killing her would kill him too, and he enjoys living forever.
And you don't.
Burying everyone you know while you live on can weigh you down a bit.
Yeah, dude. I bet.
I couldn't help your friend, but perhaps I can help you.
You want to join us?
If you don't mind the company, yes.
So, if I want to kill Renoir, I have to kill the paintress first.
Understandable reaction.
What's your name?
Versa.
Versa. See you in part 10. Wow. God damn. We made it, what, 10 minutes? 10 minutes, and we got an hour and 40-minute stream out of it. Holy hell. Well. Yeah. Hey, if you liked that, leave a thumbs up. If anything I said resonated with you in some way, let me know in the comments. Please do not put any spoilers in the comments. They will be removed and you will be banned from ever speaking in my comments ever again. I am really looking forward to seeing where this goes. This is gonna be wild. Leave a thumbs up. Leave a comment. Come hang out on Twitch sometime. I'd love to have you here live. If you're binging, I'll see you right here in the next episode. If you're waiting for the next one to come out, I'll get it out as soon as I can. I appreciate you. You matter. I'll see you on the next one.